Someone's outside. It started with a knock. Not loud, just deliberate. 4 slow taps against the front door like someone testing if I was home. At first, I thought it was just a neighbor or some kid pulling a prank. But when I opened the door, no one was there. Just my quiet street. Still. Too still. I live alone out near the edge of town, wooded on both sides, the kind of place where the air feels heavy after sundown. I locked the door, rolled my eyes, and went back to the couch. Maybe I imagined it. Then it happened again. Knock, 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 knock. This time I ran to the door, fast, swung it open. Nothing. I stood on the porch, cold air brushing past me, heart thudding. I scanned the dark tree line across the road. Nothing moved. I told myself it was just the wind, somehow. I closed the door, locked it, slid the deadbolt. Minutes passed. Then I heard the creak. Not from the front, from the back porch. I froze. I have a sensor light back there. If something moves, it flicks on. It didn't. But I heard weight shift on the wooden boards. Slow steps. I crept through the kitchen and peeked through the blinds. Still dark, but I swear I saw a shape. Not moving, not quite human. Tall, slightly hunched, its head tilted toward the window. Toward me. I backed away. Called out, "Hey, who's out there?" No response, just silence. But it was a thick silence, like the world was holding its breath. I grabbed a flashlight and flung the back door open, shining the beam across the porch. Nothing. I stepped out, shaking now, and swept the beam across the woods. Still nothing. But when I turned back to the door, something caught my eye. Muddy handprints smeared across the glass. Not mine. I slammed the door shut, locked it. My pulse was screaming in my ears. And then the real terror started. Tap, tap, tap. On the living room window. I whipped around. The blinds were down. I couldn't see out, but I knew someone, something, was standing right there, close, watching. I stepped back, didn't breathe. Then a whisper, right against the glass. "Let me in." I ran to the bedroom and locked the door. I don't remember falling asleep, but I woke up at dawn, curled on the floor, heart still hammering. I checked every door, every window. No one there, but the prints were still on the glass, dozens of them now, like they'd been pressing their hands all over the house, waiting, watching. It's night again now. I haven't left. I haven't turned off the lights. And just now, I heard it. That knock, same rhythm. 4 slow taps, but this time it's coming from the attic. And I never opened the hatch. They know I'm awake. It started around midnight. I was alone, half asleep on the couch, the TV flickering static because I'd forgotten to change the input again. That's when I heard it. Tap. A soft, deliberate tap at the window. I live on the 2nd floor. There's no balcony. I muted the TV, held my breath. Maybe it was a branch, I told myself. Or the wind. I waited. Tap. Tap. Again. Louder this time. Definitely the glass. I sat up, the windows behind the couch. I didn't want to turn around, my mouth felt dry. I finally twisted in place, slow, like gravity was resisting me. The blinds were down, but they swayed slightly, just once, like something had brushed against them from the outside. I stood, grabbed the lamp, and yanked the blind cord. Nothing, just darkness. But I noticed the window had fogged, like breath had been pressed against it. My building is surrounded by trees. The closest neighbor is 2 units over. Nobody should be outside, especially not this high up. I checked the locks. Everything was secure. I told myself I was being paranoid, shut off the TV, and went to bed. I barely slept. At 3:17 a.m., I woke up freezing. The bedroom window was open. I never opened it. The screen had been pushed out. It lay on the ground 2 stories below. I backed away, eyes fixed on the opening. There was no breeze, but the curtain moved anyway, just a little, as if something had passed through. I searched the apartment, room by room, turning on every light. Nothing. No one. But I didn't sleep again. I sat in the corner of my room, knees pulled to my chest, phone clutched in one hand. Just before sunrise, I heard it again. Tap, tap. This time, from the front door. I crept into the hallway and stared at the door. I live alone. No one should be knocking at 5 a.m. I approached it quietly, looked through the peephole. No one there. But as I pulled back, there was a whisper. Close, just on the other side of the door. I know you're awake. I stepped back. My vision blurred. My knees buckled and I dropped to the floor. Whoever it was, they never left. I could hear their breathing faint through the door. I waited, shaking, until daylight. Now the sun is up. The window is closed. The door is quiet. But something is still off. I checked my phone's camera. I have an old tablet propped up by the front door, pointing out through the peephole. It records everything. I just reviewed the footage. At exactly 3:17 a.m., the same time I woke up, something climbed through the bedroom window. Pale, barefoot, moving like it had too many joints. It looked around my room. Then it looked directly at the camera, like it knew. The video cuts out after that. It's daytime now, but I know it's still in here, somewhere, waiting. The man in the driveway. It was nearly 2 a.m. when I saw him. I was standing at the kitchen sink, rinsing a glass, the house silent except for the hum of the fridge. That's when I looked out the window above the sink and saw a man just standing in my driveway, still staring. At first, I thought maybe he was drunk, lost, or maybe I was imagining it. I turned off the tap, looked again. Nope, he was still there, just watching the house. He wasn't doing anything, not moving, not swaying. Just planted there, about 20 feet from the garage, his head tilted slightly to the left. His clothes were plain. No phone, no flashlight, no reason to be there. I flipped on the outside floodlight. He didn't flinch. I stared at him for a long time before grabbing my phone and dialing non-emergency police. While it rang, I ducked out of view. The dispatcher answered, calm and tired. I gave my name and address and said, "There's a man standing in my driveway just staring at my house. Is he threatening you?" "No, but he's not moving. He's just there." They said they'd send someone to check. I peeked back out the window. Still there. I moved to the front door, lifted the blinds slightly. That's when I realized something worse. He wasn't looking at the house. He was looking at me. Right at the window I was hiding behind. He hadn't moved, not an inch, but his head was angled perfectly at me, like he knew where I was the whole time. I stepped back. The lights inside were off. There's no way he could see me that clearly. But I felt that weight, that exact feeling when someone's eyes are locked on you. I waited, phone in hand, listening. 5 minutes passed, then 10. No sirens, no car, no movement outside. I glanced again. He was gone. No sound, no footsteps, just not there. I flicked through the house lights front to back. Checked the doors. Locked. All locked. I went upstairs to look from a higher window. The driveway was empty, but I noticed the back gate was open. I know I closed it earlier. I always do. It drags against the dirt if you don't lift it right. I would have heard it open. I stared at it for a long time, then backed away from the window. I didn't want to see him again. I didn't want to see what he did next. The police called back at 2:26 a.m., said they didn't find anyone, suggested it might have been a prank. But when I went to bed, I couldn't sleep. Every floorboard creaked louder than usual. The shadows in the corners looked like they were holding their breath. At 3:14 a.m., I heard the front doorknob rattle. Just once. Just enough. Not a knock. Not banging. Just the slow click of someone testing the lock. I stayed completely still, and then from just outside the door, you saw me.